5, Hudson Card fits for Hudson Card. I guess I could look on the screen and see it there. But Hudson Card has entered the transfer portal, as we all know, and will be one of the most sought-after players, I think.
I would think so.
If not, maybe there's going to be somebody in there that's got a higher profile than Hudson Card here in the coming days, because there always usually is. But I would think, based on how highly he was recruited and, where he's coming from, where he came from in high school, how many offers he had, that there's not going to be many people who are much more sought after, especially given the position at quarterback than him. Number 5, UCLA under Chip Kelly. Hudson Card's pretty athletic. Look, he's no DTR, but who is? There's not many guys like that, but I do think that Chip Kelly's offense fits Hudson Card's skill set, and Chip Kelly's been known to be a quarterback guru over the years. This is me making nice with you UCLA fans, but I think Hudson Card would be a nice little fit in UCLA.
Yeah, sure. DTR, I'm curious to see what his prospects are after this year, how he's viewed, but he obviously had a very good season, and they had their golden opportunities, couldn't quite get over the mountaintop, but climbed up pretty far. Had a great year. So yeah, I mean, anybody with a quarterback guru, I think, or in need of a quarterback is going to be interested in Hudson Card. But yeah, Chip Kelly, I could see that.
Yeah. Number 4, Miami under Mario Cristobal and Josh Gaddis. This is a team that desperately needs good quarterback play. Tyler Van Dyke took a gigantic step back, and they don't have a quarterback in the roster that's anywhere near Hudson Card. And Hudson Card's hardly played all that much. That's how bad the quarterback play was at Miami this year. And they need somebody. He's more steady and tough, and I think would help that and fits Mario Cristobal's personality a little bit. Right now, though, if you're looking to go to Miami and win right away, I don't think that's necessarily what they're going to do next year. They have a bigger talent problem than I think they realized going in, even with NIL and all that. But he could certainly go in there and I think easily win the job with the Canes.
Yeah, I was disappointed in Tyler Van Dyke's overall year. I thought maybe just those couple of viewings, like weeknight games last year, at least what it feels like are my memories of watching Tyler Van Dyke, that he was going to have a nice little season, and that was not the case, but that was, the case for pretty much that entire program. So they need to do something. I know Mario's not on a short leash already because they've got far too much invested in him, but this was a disaster compared to expectations. There was no fan base talking more trash in the preseason than Miami fans, by far. And they absolutely laid an egg this year with Cristobal. So, I mean, if they need to improve talent at quarterback, I think Hudson Card's right there at the top of the list. And, I'm not sure of his interest level. That's the great thing for him, is he's basically just starting recruiting all over again, but with probably even more of a high-profile sort of tier to start off with.
Than being a state championship quarterback at Lake Travis. Even higher than that. So.
Now he's played a little bit at Texas, has shown his chops, and every school that's in need of a quarterback is going to be calling for.
Yeah. Number 3, just up the road in Gainesville, Florida. Tragically and very sad situation about Jalen Kitna, who's been arrested on child pornography charges.
Yeah.
So that is a person who's not going to be in the starting battle next year. And we don't know what Anthony Richardson's going to do yet, but if you listen to most NFL draft prognosticators, Anthony Richardson is out the door. I mean, he is going to go to the draft. Edgar Thompson, who we have on all the time that covers the Gators, he said very early on that Anthony Richardson is going to go to the draft. I don't know if he should necessarily do that now. When he is on, you can see it. But he still has those times of being off where I think another year in college would benefit him.
You once said, and you brought up the name of a player that I should have washed your mouth out with soap, that he has, in your opinion, he has at least some traits of Vince Young.
Yes.
He's not as much of a runner as he is. No one was like Vince Young. Didn't Vince have to go from sophomore to junior year and grow up when they finally let him just do his thing?
Yeah, I think so. And where I compare him to is he's big enough to where when a big defensive lineman or linebacker gets their mitts on him, he can throw them off.
Or they just bounce off.
And just bounce off. And he's got a laser rocket of an arm. The problem is that, where Vince never really had this, where, he had those times at Texas where he wasn't quite his fully formed Vince Youngness, but he never went, 1 for 20 and a half. Just like Anthony Richardson goes from 100 to 0, and he needs to develop, because I don't think that's his, he's not at his full potential yet.
It's like his engine and his pistons are off.
Going to the NFL right now might be maybe too soon, but back to Hudson Card, if he does go, Florida's got Jack Miller, who transferred in from Ohio State, that would be the leader in the clubhouse going into spring. And then they've got Jaden Rashada coming in as a commit. So they've got bodies, and I don't know if Jaden Rashada is coming in the spring or not, but someone with starting experience, Hudson Card fits this really well.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not planning on Rashada, that's the thing, is I didn't, look ahead of time and see like the recruiting pool and who's got who and all of that. I mean, I guess the portal kind of just makes everything a little bit muddier. But, I mean, yeah, so long as they haven't promised Rashada something, because we know there's money involved there. Yeah. How much you want to have invested in 2 quarterbacks, and one of them is clearly going to be sitting on the sidelines. Like, that's the thing, is some of these schools are going to find themselves with like 3 quarterbacks on payroll and something having to give. Now, obviously, they just burn money most places, so that's not a big deal. But, yeah, I don't think that's a situation you want to create if you don't have to. So, a lot of those young guys coming in are going to have a big impact, I'm sure, on where he goes. Yeah.
Number 2, Auburn. None of the quarterbacks at Auburn worked out this year. They got in the transfer portal for 2 of them, and they had a ton of injuries, and nothing really worked out. And this is now a new regime under Hugh Freeze, and I'm sure he'll make work the best he can with whatever they do have in the roster. But I would think it foolish you not to think that he's not going to go in the portal and grab a quarterback. And, with the alumni maybe willing to help out a little bit now under a new coach, might get Hudson Card in there with some nice little Skrilla.
I should know this, but I don't. Who was the quarterback at Liberty this year?
They had multiple quarterbacks because guys kept getting hurt. But the one that they Charlie Brewer was the original starter. Yeah. And he got hurt like in the first month. What was it, the first couple weeks or first month? I don't even recall at this point.
The first game.
The one that I could see going to Auburn's already been dismissed from one SEC program, so he'd fit in with Hugh Freeze just great. Caden Salter from Cedar Hill played for Liberty, and he played pretty well in relief of Charlie Brewer, and then he got hurt. He was originally dismissed from Tennessee, and that's how he ended up at Liberty. I could see Caden Salter as being a guy that they potentially look at. And my comment about the young quarterbacks having an effect, I don't think Hudson Card's running from any place with some freshman quarterback. I don't think he gives a damn. But I do think if you're a school who's got like some investments already, I don't know that you go and grab Hudson Card without being very careful about that, is what I was trying to say. But, yeah, I could definitely see Auburn as a place in need of a quarterback. But, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if Caden Salter was more their flavor.
After you do one, I'm going to read some of those suggestions in the chat room.
Yeah great. Number 1, Notre Dame. This is a team, I think, if they got consistent quarterback play throughout this season, look, they rallied and did well, but Marcus Freeman needs that going forward. Their defense is going to be pretty good as long as Marcus Freeman's there, and they're going to get really good defensive players and athletes. But I do think they need to find that consistency at quarterback, and I think Hudson Card fits what Tommy Rees wants to do there. So I think this would be a big one, and I think they're pretty much open for business here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Brandon Armstrong also Notre Dame, because, again, that's a grad transfer, gives some time for their young guys. I know they've got some young quarterback commit coming in, so Brandon Armstrong might be a better fit there, maybe, but if I'm picking out of Notre Dame, I'm picking Hudson Card over Brandon Armstrong.
Who was your number 5?
Number 5 was UCLA.
Okay. I think you could add Wisconsin to a top 10 list. Obviously, you just got done talking now. Maybe not for Hudson Card. That's the thing, is like it would be interesting to see, and I'm not going to pretend to be some X's and O's guy who knows exactly where he would fit like a glove as far as his personnel, leanings go, and his best attributes and all of that. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of just a program that needs a quarterback, absolutely he could be an upgrade for them over what they've had this year, and he could sling it around a bit for them and run it around, as we've seen him do a little bit as well. So, I think I put in a little power rankings thing I did for the website he's basically become a millionaire overnight by just entering the transfer portal. He's going to get a 7-figure deal from somebody, almost assuredly being a guy with a couple of years remaining. And, with a little bit of a couple skins on the wall now at this point. So very interested to see where he ends up, and a lot of big schools will be in the mix, to be sure.
Yeah. Paxton said Texas A&M. He also threw out Baylor, Iowa State, Iowa State, and Oklahoma State.
I've thought about Oklahoma. I mean, yeah, like all the schools in this region, because, I mean, Spencer Sanders, I don't know what his plan is as far as coming back or not. I don't know what his NFL hopes really are either. So I would think he's gone. And based on what we saw, I don't think there's anybody standing in his way at Baylor. I mean, that'd be interesting, although Shapen's played a full – like, I don't know, but you'd at least look into it, I think. A&M certainly look into it. I just wonder how hardcore of a Longhorn he is, where, like, there are certain schools that, no, I can get money elsewhere. I'm not going to go put on an Aggies jersey or Bears jersey.
I do think for A&M, the least of their worries, honestly, because Connor Wigman looked like pretty good. Like, I think they probably need to double down on that for a little while, but – again,
what have they been doing?
Yeah, I mean, like
they've been through a revolving door of just okay, right?
Yeah. So,
hey, I want to say this. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it, and also the chat room. Some great discussion today.